The Kano State chapter of the All Progressives Congress State Working Committee has suspended ward party leaders who earlier suspended the national chairman of the party, Abdullahi Ganduje, from the party. The APC ward in Dawkin Tofa Local Government has suspended the party's national chairman, Ganduje, on Monday, but in a swift reaction, the party thwarted the suspension and sacked those behind the suspension of Ganduje. The state party chairman, Inusa Dawanau, said those behind the suspension of Ganduje were caught in anti-party activities and their records of meetings with the opposition were exposed. The State Working Committee adopted the suspension of the ward's APC leaders. It, however, clarified that Ganduje's suspension is invalid, null and void, and cannot stand. And to unpack this, I'm joined by a public affairs analyst, Jide Ojo. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me.
It's my pleasure.
All right. So for clarity's sake, what is the current status of Abdullahi Ganduje, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress?
Well, the party leadership in the state has said it remains the national chairman of the party, but we know that there is no smoke without fire, and coming days and weeks will unravel whether Ganduje's Ganduje's days as the national chairman of APC is numbered. It is not out of place to have had this suspension orchestrated by the NMPP leadership in Kano State, knowing full well that there is no love lost between Dr. Umar Ganduje and his former leader, former governor, former principal, Rabbi Musa Kwakwansu. So what is playing out is politics. The suspension was alleged to be on the basis that Ganduje would be appearing before court on bribery allegation, which has been known for some years while he was the governor of Kano State. And we know, historically speaking, about 3 former national chairmen of political parties have lost their seat by virtue of suspension from their ward level. It first happened with Adams Oshomole of APC, who lost his seat after his ward in Edo State sacked him. Then we have Uche Secondus. Then we've also had Iyochayu after the 2023 after the 2023 elections. So it always starts from the ward level because that's the level at which every politician joins the political parties of their choice.
But Mr. Ojo, what are the
why the state announcement? We wait to see how all of this will pan out ultimately.
Mr. Ojo, what are the legal grounds, given by the ward executives to have Ganduje suspended? I mean, are there any provisions within the APC's rules and regulation that govern suspension of high-ranking officials like the national chairman, especially by ward executives?
Well, the action of Ganduje having to answer to corruption allegation is sufficient grounds to have him suspended. But if he escaped the suspension now, it is just because he is still being loved by the presidency. He's still being wanted by the presidency, because if they are done with him, I tell you for free, they will use the same ward executive to get him out of that seat. Don't forget that Ganduje was not the one that led the party to victory in 2023. Allegations of abuse of office, corruption was leveled against Abdullahi, Senator Abdullahi, who was then the national chairman of the party after the 2023 election, and then Senator Iyola Omishore, who was then the national secretary. And both of them today are history because they had to quickly resign their position in order to avoid prevent being sacked. So politics is about interest. If the interest of Ganduje is still being served, if it's still considered relevant in the chess game of APC politics, it will survive for the time being. But don't forget, game of politics is a game of interest. No permanent friendship, no permanent enemy, but permanent interest. Nobody saw it coming that Rabi Musa Kwakwanso and Ganduje can fall apart. He is one of the two governors. Ganduje happens to be one of the two deputy governors who was supported by their former governors to succeed them. That was how Rabi Musa Kwakwanso supported him to be governor after him. Likewise, the case of Shinkafi in Zamfara State. And of course, you can add the third one being that of Dave Umahi who succeeded Martin Elechi in Ebonyi State. But it's a very rare breed to have your principal supporting you to succeeding. But as we have seen, the same Ganduje and Kwakwanso does not want to see eye to eye. And while NNPC is the one in charge of the Kano State government, APC is the ruling party at the national level. So to the extent that the powers that be who brought Ganduje to take over from Abdullahi still found him useful, they will stave off any suspension or impeachment right now. But the day they feel that it's expendable, that they have used him enough, they can still use the same ward executive to get him out of that seat, as was the case with Adams Oshiomhole in Edo State.
But then does this whole incident have any impact whatsoever on the party's internal dynamics and also public perception?
It does. It shows that all is not well among all our political parties. As we speak, PDP is also embroiled in its own internal crisis. In 2 days' time, the next meeting of PDP will be holding. Some 60 lawmakers have put vote of no confidence in the leadership of Damagun, Ambassador Damagun. So it tells you the one of Labour Party. You've seen what has happened with Labour Party, that Julius Abure has been the National Nigeria Labour Congress have dissociated themselves from the convention of Julius Abure, and they have sacked him. So almost all the 19 political parties in Nigeria are embroiled in one internal crisis or the other, and that is not good for good governance, particularly when you have party in government facing this kind of internal wranglings. And that is where my concern is, because this could be a distraction to performance. Thankfully, Ganduje is not president, he is not governor, so he is just a political head, and much damage may not be done. But perception that APC is a party of thieves, a party of rogues, a party of bribe taker, may be very difficult to set aside, because that is a perception I think the world executive in Kano does not want to take place. If you listen to them, they said in as well as this man has been indicted and he will be appearing before the court, he should be suspended to allow him to have his days in court. And if the court found him not culpable, he can be reinstated. But we know once they succeed in getting him suspended, they will be looking for an acting chairman, and that means Ganduje's era may be gone. So what all of this point is that there is political instability in many of our political parties. And that
indeed,
is
Mr.
not
Ojo,
good enough.
I wish we had more time, but we have to wrap up now. Thank you so much for your insight on the news. Indeed, perception impacts reality. Thank you so much for your expertise. Jide Ojo, Public Affairs Analyst, thank you once again.